Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a really rapidly escalating legal and political dispute. This one pits the Trump administration squarely against Harvard University. And it's not just headlines, it's really about the quite intricate world of foreign visa programs and, well, their implications. Our mission today is to unpack the specific investigations, the legal actions, kind of trace the history of this increasingly tense relationship using the sources you've shared. It's definitely a complex situation, significant implications, almost like a high stakes legal chess match unfolding right before us.
Okay.
So let's jump straight into the very latest development in this ongoing saga. Just this week, the State Department, its Undersecretary Marco Rubio, announced a brand new investigation. This one's into Harvard's participation in the exchange visitor program. That's the program issuing J-1 visas.
Right. And what's interesting here is, understanding what a J-1 visa actually is. These are specific visas. They're for foreign students, professors, researchers. And crucially, a common requirement for many J-1 holders anyway, is that they have to return to their home countries for at least 2 years. That's before they can even become eligible for certain other U.S. visas. So it's a program fundamentally designed for exchange, temporary stays, building academic links, cultural links. It's not typically a direct pathway to, say, immediate permanent residency.
That distinction's really vital, yeah. And Secretary Rubio's public statement, it laid out the administration's justification pretty explicitly. He said, and I'm quoting here, "The American people have the right to expect their universities to uphold national security, comply with the law, and provide safe environments for all students." He also emphasized that sponsors, like Harvard, must comply with all regulations,
Right.
including conducting their programs in a manner that does not undermine the foreign policy objectives or compromise the national security interests of the United States. But what really stands out, though, is that the statement didn't spell out what exactly about Harvard's participation is under investigation. Does that language, phrases like undermine foreign policy objectives, does that maybe hint at something specific beyond just general security, maybe intellectual property or influence concerns?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it definitely suggests a broader scope. When you hear language like foreign policy objectives and national security interests, well, it often points to a heightened concern, a concern about how foreign actors, maybe even within academic settings, might gain access to sensitive research or IP or even strategic information. It implies scrutiny that goes beyond just, basic compliance. It delves into the potential for soft power, maybe strategic advantage through these academic exchanges. It's basically an assertion that these programs aren't just about education. They're tied into the nation's wider geopolitical stance.
Mm. Given that context, it's probably not a huge surprise that Harvard's counterstatement wasn't exactly, well, quiet acceptance. The university immediately hit back. They called the probe yet another retaliatory step taken by the administration in violation of Harvard's First Amendment rights. How exactly is Harvard framing this? Are they suggesting their academic freedom, maybe even free association rights, are being infringed upon here?
Precisely. Yeah, Harvard's argument, it's got a few layers. They're asserting that government action directly targeting their international programs, especially if it seems tied to their public statements or, their institutional autonomy. Well, that's an attempt to suppress their fundamental rights. They see this free exchange of ideas, the ability to host international scholars, as absolutely core to their academic mission. And they believe it's protected under the First Amendment, academic freedom, free association, things like that. They did affirm their commitment to protecting their international community, supporting them, while also saying, look, we intend to comply with the relevant exchange visitor program regulations. So it's a very clear defense of their institutional independence.
Okay, so this latest J1 probe, it's not happening in a vacuum, right? It's a new flashpoint in what sounds like a rapidly escalating, maybe 6-month power struggle. To really get the gravity here, we probably need to rewind a bit, see how these tensions have built up, like that legal chess match you mentioned. Looking back over the last 6 months, what were the key moments leading up to this? Is there a clear pattern in the administration's approach?
Well, there's definitely a pattern. Increasing pressure, increasing scrutiny. If we connect the dots, just last week, for instance, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem announced DHS would subpoena Harvard. They wanted information about its foreign students.
Oh,
And this was specifically tied to Harvard's certification under the Student Visitor and Exchange Program, SEVP. And for you, the listener, that's the bigger federal system managing international students across all visa types, not just J-1s.
so broader than just this one program.
Much broader. It potentially involves their entire foreign student population. And then, if you go back to June, President Trump signed a proclamation. The goal was to suspend entry for foreign students or exchange visitors planning to go specifically to Harvard, unless, that is, their entry was determined to be in the national interest.
Wow.
But what was really striking there was the judicial pushback, almost instantaneous. A federal judge in Boston blocked that order, within 2 hours.
2 hours. That's incredibly fast.
It was real legal whiplash. Really underscored the speed and intensity of these fights.
That's amazing the court's moving that quickly. And the timeline goes back even further, doesn't it? Back to April. And that's when the administration demanded Harvard hand over detailed records, alleged illegal and violent activities by foreign student visa holders. Harvard said they complied at the time, but then DHS apparently deemed that compliance insufficient. And they actually threatened to stop the school from enrolling any international students.
Right, a major escalation.
But again, just last month, another federal judge stepped in, barred the administration from revoking the school's ability to enroll foreign students. We've seen judicial intervention pop up repeatedly here. Do these really swift court actions suggest maybe the courts actively asserting their role in protecting universities against executive actions in these disputes?
Absolutely. I think what we're seeing isn't just, a series of isolated legal skirmishes. It looks like a pretty robust demonstration of the judiciary acting as a kind of bulwark maybe for academic freedom, or at least institutional process. Each time, the courts have stepped in quickly, temporarily blocking or barring the administration's moves. It signals that even when national security is invoked, executive power isn't necessarily unchecked, especially when it impacts, core institutional functions and the kind of due process universities might expect. It's a powerful reminder of checks and balances.
So what does this all really mean for the academic community? And I guess the wider landscape of international education. To get the full weight of this, you have to consider the scale. According to Harvard's own data, about 1 in 4 students at the university is international. 1 in 4, that's significant.
It's incredibly significant. When you think about that, roughly 25% of Harvard's student body being international. Well, these actions carry enormous weight. It means the administration's different investigations, the subpoenas, the attempted restrictions, they could directly affect a huge portion of the university's students, their faculty too, impacting their studies, their research, even just their ability to stay in the U.S. This whole situation really raises fundamental questions, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About that delicate balance between, yes, legitimate national security concerns and the vital free-flowing function of academic institutions. Institutions that really rely on international exchange for diverse perspectives, for cutting-edge research, for a truly global learning environment. It's a tension that plays out not just in court filings, but in the daily lives of thousands of students and scholars.
This has been a truly fascinating and, pretty intense deep dive into this ongoing legal and political dispute between the Trump administration and Harvard. We've looked at the administration's stated concerns, national security, compliance. We've seen Harvard's consistent defense, focusing on First Amendment rights, protecting its international community, and that recurring, really pivotal role of the courts stepping in throughout this disagreement.
Yeah, and it leaves us, and you, the listener, with a really important question to think about. How do we, as a nation, find that balance between the critical goals of national security and the fundamental principles of academic freedom and international exchange that have, for so long, really defined our higher education system? What are the long-term implications if these kinds of tensions continue? For the future of universities, for global collaboration, especially as these legal battles, they seem likely to keep unfolding.